Welcome to the ECD BakeWATCH booth at IBIE. And you guys know I am such a huge fan of thermal profiling. And Ray has a barometer here to show you how to use it and to explain a little bit more on what thermal profiling is. All right. So Ray, you're the expert, right? And tell us why is BakeWATCH different in terms of thermal profiling?
All right, well, thanks for coming to our stand today, Lynn. Welcome to the Bakerpedia audience here. We're here at the 2019 IBIE exhibiting our equipment here. Malt thermal profiling, we're actually the inventor of the genre, so we definitely know what we're doing and how to create products that are very robust and easy to use, really. It's all about high yield profitability and improving quality. And so we have many patented innovations, such as breadometers Lynn was referring to.
Yep.
As illustrated here.
Let's come over here so that you can see it.
So 6 channels in one single insertion means very easy training for the operator to optimize product quality, essentially, by having five consistently placed thermocouples within the dough piece, and a sensor that tells the software when you enter and exit the oven. So therefore, we take that data and automatically analyze and calculate as percentages of bake time when yeast kill, starch gelatinization, and arrival actually occur with enough time remaining to create optimum crumb texture and moisture content for a long shelf life. I mean, it's everything you want with a single profile.
So, Ray, what is the biggest pushback when you talk to a baker about using thermal profiling?
Well, you know, there are still people in that category, amazingly, that come by and ask for a thermometer. And you're seeing the whole picture. You know, it's a time temperature graph, convective elements depending on the instrument that you're using with the mole, and you're replacing opinions with facts, and you're bringing uniformity and quality to your production. It's just a game
basically
changer.
Taking away from subjectivity on how it looks and how brown it is to objectivity on how, you know, it arrives and the arrival numbers that's documented in the profiles that you have. Yeah.
And with that data, then it's very actionable. Now you're able to adjust zone temperatures and conveyor speed and/or time in the oven, and you tweaked your process. Maybe you're reformulating for you know, free from. What am I trying to say? Clean label.
Clean label, yeah.
Things like that. It just helps you so much. You're actually performing with the actual data. So.
All right. So tell us a little bit more also on the food safety side of things. I mean, what does BakeWATCH do for kill step?
Yes. In addition, well, we've been an equipment supplier to the IB for some time. And what we do is, in that realm, is utilize the kinetic thermal resistance constants that they have developed and published into a drop list automated piece that we call BakeWATCH kill step calculator. And what that does is automates the data collection, the individual channel validation, and the report generation such that you're not exporting any data to Excel. It comes straight out of your mole, and boom, you have your audit proofing right then and there. So the productivity to achieve physical compliance is just, you know, it's the best in the industry.
Easy, right? So. Yeah. All right. So, do you have a product called Mini-Mole? Is that correct? And what does Mini-Mole do?
Yes. Well, the proofer is not to be ignored, certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Mini-Mole and BakerWATCH are two relative humidity products which allow you to validate the settings, you know, that your proofer is set up properly, so you're delivering dough consistency to the oven year-round, despite what the environmental humidity changes are. So
All right.
that's also a very important aspect in our product lineup, and every bakery should have is producing yeast goods.
Yeah, so if you guys have any more questions about kill step, you know, understanding your oven and humidity and your proofer and, you know, thermal profiling, come and speak to Ray at 267 here at IBIE.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye. Welcome to the Puratos Sourdough Library here at IBIE, Las Vegas. And look who I found. The sourdough librarian, the one and only in the world. And he brought a small library here, right? All the way from Belgium.
Yeah, well, I didn't bring it up. It's kind of a reproduction. We don't dare to travel with the sourdoughs from the library. It's already complicated to travel with one sourdough, so we just made reproductions.
All right, so Carl, tell our viewers, what do you do?
Oh, what do I do? Well,
Yes.
I'm the sourdough librarian. We have, for the moment, in our sourdough library in Belgium, a collection of 120 sourdoughs from 21 countries. So we have, of course, to take care of them. So we have to feed them every 2 months. And besides that, well, I try to go on a quest for sourdough to discover sourdoughs in all the different parts of the world. Try to collect them, get them into the library, and at the same time we try to make movies about them in order to show our followers or our customers how these sourdoughs are used in their place of origin. And then besides that, well, I'm traveling in Belgium to take care of the Center for Bread Flavor, where the sourdough library is located, and where we take care of customer visits from all over the world. We get customers there, so I show them there what we have in our library, and then besides that, I'm writing some articles for the press, or I give trainings.
So, what do you find out about sourdoughs when you travel around the world?
Well, I found out that a sourdough is always unique. That there's many sourdoughs out there in the world. Some show similarities, but every sourdough is unique because every baker or every person who owns a sourdough is using its or her own recipe, a different kind of flour, and then probably the origin of the starter can be different. Some people use grapes or apple or orange juice or lemon peel or what it is. 1,001 recipes on our Questful Sourdough website.
What is the weirdest starter?
Wow. Well, it depends how you look at weird.
Okay.
One that always surprised me
Right.
first was when I saw the one from Guadalajara, where the starter is refreshed with flour, water, lime, eggs, a little bit of salt and sugar.
Really? Wow.
That was quite new. But then the most crazy that I'm thinking of now is in Italy when they make starter for a panettone. They go in the mountains, they collect cow shit that is dried.
All right.
And that is put in water.
Okay.
Yes. So you rehydrate it in water.
Okay.
That water is filtered, and of course in shit there is microorganisms.
Yes, but
And
it's
these-
dried already.
And they are dried, but they survive.
Oh, okay.
And then in the flour and water, they are used as starter to make the sourdough.
So actual gut bacteria to
Yes,
start.
yes.
Okay.
And it's okay because in a starter, once the pH goes below 4.2, the pathogens are killed. So you remain only with the good
But
microorganisms.
let me ask you, how often does the whole loaf of bread go down below 4.2?
No, not the whole loaf, but
Okay,
your
the
starter.
starter,
It's
right.
only the starter.
Okay.
So if your starter is below 4.2, then your sourdough is safe to use.
Okay, I got it.
That you use with the flour and water, and then it's okay.
Interesting. All right, that's awesome. I have not heard of that kind of sourdough before, but thank you for bringing me through your journey. What would you offer here at the booth to the attendees at IBIE?
Well, actually, it's not a Puratos booth. We are actually animating the booth of the IBIE. They have a marketplace, and they asked us to do some animation. So we have here our bakers. They have prepared some breads. I don't know. We welcome
Go
there.
over there.
So we have little samples for for people who are passing by and they want to eat something. So I will start with this one. This is a kind of baguettes that are made with one of our sourdough products. It's a living sourdough, so it's Adelia. It's called Sapore Adelia, and it is still containing the living microorganism. It's liquid and it's based on wheat flour. Okay. Then we have, and in combination, we have used our authentic durum. So it's based on the durum wheat flour from Altamura in Italy. And then we have another baguette where it's a combination with our soft grains inside. So it's the pre-soaked grains that are increasing the nutritional levels of the baguette itself. So they are pre-soaked in order that you get a better freshness after baking. And then the brioche type, this is made again with the Sapore Adelia, so the living active sourdough.
So talk a little more about your living active sourdough. How different is it from, say, like a dry sourdough?
Okay, so in order to make a dry sourdough, you need to make a living liquid sourdough. So we always, when we produce that sourdough, well, it's the purest form of the sourdough we can make. So whenever the sourdough is fermented, so we take flour, wheat flour in this case, water, and a selection of microorganisms that company know which ones we use, and then we ferment, depending on what type of sourdough, it can go between 36 and 48 hours. Once all the parameters that we are looking for are okay, then we cool down the temperature to 4 degrees Celsius. It's fridge temperature. And then the sourdough is packed and stored. And the logistics have to happen refrigerated. That is living sourdough. That's like how if you have a sourdough that you maintain, you can compare it to that.
So it's actually, is it more flavorful than powdered sourdough?
Well, I would not say it's more flavorful. Flavor will be different in that way that you have all the components of that sourdough, that fermentation that you made, are still present in that sourdough. Now, if that sourdough, you turn that into a powder sourdough, of course you have volatile components that will evaporate. They will be lost. But thanks to the drying process, you will compensate that with other flavor components by drying. And if we dry on a drum, you get more roasted or toasted flavors. But of course, when you dry as such, you don't have the activity, and you cannot count on the dried sourdough powder to give you fermentation power or have lactic acid bacteria.
So as a sourdough librarian, what next for you? What's your next journey?
My next journey is in a couple of weeks. I will be somewhere mid-October. I go to Turkey. So we have just collected 5 or 6 sourdoughs from Turkey, and I will go with my cameraman, and we will try to make a movie about the Turkish sourdoughs. We found a couple of them at the Black Sea in Trabzon, and then some in Izmir, but that is more a chickpea fermentation sourdough. And then we found some a bit in Istanbul, and then a bit more in the city.
Great.
Turkey.
Well, follow Carl on LinkedIn, and what other platforms do you use?
I'm on Instagram as the Sourdough Librarian,
go.
And then on Facebook with a page called The Quest for Sourdough.
Yes. All right, follow Carl, guys.
Thank you.
Next time.
Bye.
Thanks. Welcome to the Balchem booth. So, these caught my eye, or what we call the on-trend unicorn cakes. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. How often do you bake your sprinkles in there and it all gets all smooshed and blended together? You can never get this kind of color in there. So this caught my eye. I stopped by Balchem's booth, and this is Andrew. Andrew?
Hey,
What
Lin.
do you do at Balchem?
So I'm the technical sales manager for North America for Balchem. So I promote our end caps and inclusion side of the business. So the product, Lin, that you were talking about, this is actually using some of our new blending technology. So we can take any of our inclusions. We went with unicorn on this one at the guidance of my marketing team and my 5.5-year-old daughter. Rainbows and mermaids, I think, were also proposed. But this is taking a look at some of our new blending technology for our inclusions, which enable us to put multiple colored items into something like this. Means that we can be on trend with pieces, new colors, new ideas. The cool thing about our inclusions is, well, we can make them any color people want, but there's no bleeding, there's no loss of color through the product. Oh, nice close-up. So this is the product. It comes in nugget form, which you can see here. We also have it in
different sizes.
Yeah, we do it in flake sizes as well. So yeah, when you want that visual appeal, and this is kind of really exemplifying it with the multiple colors and the rainbow piece right here.
Like, why different sizes?
Well, so the different sizes depending on what impact you're looking for with the product. If you're looking to have a muffin where you want piece impact throughout, it's almost like replicate like you would get with blueberries or something like that. Or if you want something that has a really almost like waterfall effect coming through in terms of the visual, the flavor delivery. So it really customizes it so the baker, the customers can really do what they want with it.
So for this particular particle size, which one did you use?
So that one I think is using the small nuggets. Yep, so that way we get it nicely dispersed throughout, we get really nice impact. The cool thing about these pieces is we don't lose any color, there's no bleeding through, so you can see this is just a sponge cake recipe that we did here, and the color stays where we put it, which is fantastic.
What do you have there?
So the other thing, this is... Yes, you can. So the other piece we have here is again kind of a continuation with our inclusions and what else we do. This is a key lime cookie. So we do feature flavors a couple of times a year. We do a spring, we do a fall, and this is one of the more recent ones that we did, and everything's on balchem.com on the website with all the details. So this is using our inclusions for a key lime flavor. So nice hit of lime flavor. It's just a sugar cookie, basically. It's a drop-in component that gives you the color, it gives you the flavor that you would want on something like this. Great for limited time offerings, rapid development cycles, turnarounds, things like that.
Okay, very neat. And what's the difference between this and that?
So that's actually using, I think that's a regular flake, so that's a larger piece. So this is almost like, think about when you make a chocolate chip cookie. You want the big pieces of chocolate chips in there to get that nice visual, to get that nice flavor burst. That's exactly what we've done here. So we're trying to replicate that to get the flavor burst coming through. And as I say, just a sugar cookie, all the flavor, all the visuals coming from the lime. And that's what we were hoping for.
Very nice. You have the visual effect of the color and the flavor as well. Usually when you put flavor solutions in baked product, the flavor is not as strong.
Yeah.
And this is because of the encapsulation.
Yeah, so this is kind of a rudimentary encapsulation. I mean, we have our core business, which is actually the encapsulation of preservation system, acids, leavening systems. This is almost a rudimentary version because it's a lipid-based inclusion. So we're using fat in there to really suspend the flavors, the color, and all those pieces. That's part of what makes it stay where we put it during the bake cycle. And it also means you can get some really great flavors coming through, a great release. It's a low temperature process that it goes through for making it, so we don't get flash off of flavors, pieces like that. So when you bite into it, you really get that big impactful note.
I don't know who your food chemist sensory person is, but this is amazing. The last one I had, which was the wedding cake, was amazing.
So we
the elderberry.
It was the elderflower lemon.
Yes,
that was it. We talked about the royal wedding.
Right.
So we are very lucky.
So good.
We have an amazing applications team. We have an amazing marketing team that comes up with these ideas. These are all things that we develop these. We show them to customers. Some customers take them as is and they launch them out and they do limited time offerings, or they put them as main staple things. Or a customer comes back and say, hey, wouldn't it be great to now have a pineapple version or a coconut note to really build on the tropical pieces?
You guys had to travel over to They are a pillar.
Awesome.
So good. So what else do you have here?
So the other things that we've got up here, we've got our bake stable fruit fillings. So these are some new products that we launched about a year ago now. Kind of still in the early stages with what comes out, but some core fruit fillings, no high fructose corn syrup, natural colors, natural flavors, designed to go into filled bakery items. So you're not going to have syneresis, you're not going to have loss, it's not going to flow out during baking. And
No bake out.
No bake out.
That's a huge issue.
Really, really important. So giving great flavor bursts, great integrity, and looking very much at the premium side in terms of the flavors that we're using, the components that we're using to really give impactful, fresh flavors. So something really, really good fun. And then the other piece that we have is just some demonstrations regarding our encapsulation technology. I mean, you mentioned encapsulation, talking about the inclusions, but this is our go-to product. I mean, this is what Balchem is known for. This is what this division is founded on. It's our encapsulation of our preservatives, our acids, and our leavening systems. So we got tons of information if people want to stop by.
Right, and talk to you, the expert.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert, Lin, but I know a thing or two.
You know more than that.
And I have a wonderful support crew to help me, so yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, join them here at Balchem and eat cookies and learn about shelf life. All right?
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Bye. We are live here at the Delavau Business Partners booth. What is your booth number? 727. I'm going to talk to Matt today about sodium reduction. Tell me why sodium reduction is so difficult to do, Matt.
Well, in a lot of food products, sodium is there just to make the product taste good. In a baked good, okay, that's important, but it's actually got a more important function in help managing the gluten network, which is the primary determiner of the texture of a baked good. So you can't just throw too much sodium in or take too much sodium out without having really serious problems with your baked good. So
Correct.
It's actually a pretty big deal. It's not a simple problem.
So what happens if I just say, take all the salt out and put some kind of salt replacer in a bread formulation?
You won't get the network, you won't get the structure, and you'll get a really flat piece of bread that doesn't taste very good.
Okay, so what do you have for a solution for that?
So we've got a very interesting technology. It has two functionalities that kind of work in opposition. So we are able to fortify baked goods with calcium, and when you introduce calcium into a baked good, you're actually doing the job that the sodium does. So as we incorporate calcium carbonate through a patented formulation process, we can drop the sodium level simultaneously.
Really?
So if you are interested in a calcium claim, you can use the technology. If you're interested in a sodium reduction, you can use the technology. And if you want to do both simultaneously, you can use that same technology.
So not only do you take the sodium out, you also put in the
Also
calcium.
fortifying
So
with
this
calcium.
calcium iron really does the same thing as sodium ions?
It does.
Oh,
it does.
interesting.
It functions the same way in interacting with the gluten network.
Right.
So you can reduce sodium and end up with exactly the same texture and structure in your baked goods.
So let me get this right. Take out the 1.5% salt and put in 1.5% calcium carbonate technology that you have, or
It's not exactly a one-to-one replacement, but close enough.
close enough?
Close
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
Now, there is one further step that you have to go through. When you're reducing the sodium, you are impacting the flavor that comes with sodium.
That's what I was gonna
So
say,
there's some additional
yeah.
formulation work that needs to be done to compensate for that. So you don't have a problem with the structure of the bread, but you still have to manage the flavor. And there are varieties of ways of doing that with potassium chloride. There are other materials out there, and that's something that we would probably want to work with a finished product company to fine-tune.
Right, because I've tasted potassium chloride before.
Yes, and
It's not like the most attractive thing in the world.
It's not. So
Yeah.
it is a two-edged problem.
Right.
But traditionally, it's been managing the structure that is the part that folks can't solve.
All right.
And that's the technology we're bringing to the table.
That's some amazing technology, Matt.
Cool.
So come to the Delavau Partners booth and talk to this guy, Matt, because he knows everything about sodium reduction. All right?
Thanks, Lynn.
Bye. Today we have Roger from Top Taste.
Hello,
and how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm good. You must be exhausted traveling from all that way.
It's okay, no problem. We are happy to start at IBIE.
Yeah. So Roger, tell our viewers what you have here.
Yeah, we are a producer of crispy onions, an ingredient for the bread industry, bread and pizza products. This is a natural product made from fresh onions and giving a flavor and extra texture to your products.
So, fried onions, everybody has fried onions. What makes yours different?
Yes, ours is non-GMO, it's also a clean label, and we also offer organic one and gluten-free crispy onion.
Right. And you actually grow your own onions, is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So to have the right product, we grow our own onions and process everything. So from the seed to the product at the customer, we do everything by ourselves.
Neat. And tell me more a little bit about onions. I mean, you harvest them once a year.
Yes.
But you produce them all throughout the whole year.
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean, how do you do that?
We have special storage to keep all the onions well for the whole year. So that's why we can have the best quality.
So you have that many onions?
Yes, yeah. Holland is the biggest exporter of onions in the world and second largest grower after India. So we have a lot of raw material.
Neat. So, but what can people expect when they come here? Would they get any kind of advice from you on how to use onions?
Yeah, of course. So when they come to our booth, they can have a sample of the product. I explain exactly how you can use the product, why you should use, or let's say start to use, to be innovative in the market here in the United States. So I welcome everybody and hope everybody can have a look at our product at this show.
Great. So come on over to 1273 and talk to Roger about crispy onions. All right? Great.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Solange's Mill here at IBIE, booth 667. We have an interesting line of products here, and let's have Chafik talk about it. Welcome, Chafik.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for visiting us.
Tell us a little bit more about Solange's Mill.
Yeah, Solange Mill project started in 2006. And we started using wheats from the farmers that they were transitioning from conventional to organic. And we create a program called Sustainable Farming. For the purpose of the Sustainable Farming program is to reduce all the chemical application in the field, and also there is some chemicals that we don't want to find in our wheats. It's like the glyphosate. That's why we can certify that our product is glyphosate free.
Okay, so I have a baker that is looking to switch over from organic flour because they believe that organic flour is getting too expensive. And what you're saying that is instead of conventional flour, they can actually switch from organic to what do you call your product?
Yeah, it's a sustainable farming.
Sustainable farming flour.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
The first advantage of that is the price. Like the organic, it's more expensive.
Right.
But with our flour, we can guarantee there is no harmful chemicals there. It starts with the usage of seeds. The seeds doesn't have to be treated with the insecticides.
I see.
And also we we don't let our farmers apply the glyphosate, as I mentioned before.
So let me ask you something. If you
Uh-huh.
don't apply glyphosate, what do you use in place of that?
We just let the weed dry out naturally, because the application of glyphosate is done because the farmers want to dry out the weeds quickly, and we don't. There is no need to apply glyphosate.
Right.
That-
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. That's
All right.
because we let the maturation. To
So do you even apply glyphosate during the growing process at all?
Not at all.
Really?
Yeah, not at all.
Then how do you keep the weeds away?
Actually, you select varieties. That's
Oh, I see.
one of
Okay.
the thing that we do. We select our own varieties, and also recently we start using winter wheats. And winter wheats, they don't let the weeds grow in the field, because winter wheat you seed it in autumn, and in spring they start growing, and there is like they go in competition with the weeds, and because they already grown,
Yeah.
that means it takes more
More,
place, and there is
right.
no weeds in the field.
So they outgrow the
Exactly.
weeds in the
Yeah,
wheat field.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Exactly.
So, but my perception of winter wheat is it is lesser in protein quality and quantity. How do you
Yeah.
know, how do you change that perception?
There's a lot of research done with some universities, and also with breeders, to select very good varieties that they have a very good quality of gluten. Even though those varieties are they show a very low protein level, but the quality of protein is very good.
Okay.
And we in our lab we select varieties based on the gluten quality, not on the protein
okay.
level.
Good,
And
good.
also by baking the winter wheats, there is a lot of advantage working with. That's why we use that for our in our recipes, especially for artisanal bread, and also long fermentation process, baking process.
Very interesting. You seem to have all the answers for the switchover.
Yeah.
I'm concerned, but you seem to have all the answers. So if you have any more questions on switching from organic flour to a sustainable farming practice kind of flour, and you're concerned about the pesticides, you're concerned about everything else, come and see Chafik. He can really explain it to you.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you,
Booth
Ren.
667, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, here live at IBIE booth 711. We have Stephen, and he came all the way from the UK to show us how to image bread. Tell us, how do you image bread?
We use digital image analysis to analyze the internal structure, the external features of bread and baked products. We're currently working with a number of people on giving objective bread scoring algorithms that are bespoke to the products that they are making. So that's generating interest all the way back to the breeding level.
Wow.
So we're working with some of the pup loaf bakers,
Okay.
so early breeding
Okay.
trials in
So-
order to remove the subjective assessment.
Right, so just to bring that down to the baker level, if we see something like that, which is like an artisanal kind of structure, open, grain mixed in with closed grain, you do the sensory analysis, and then you correlate that to what you have here.
Yes, yeah, we'll
And
take the
then
sensory.
We'll tell you whether it's it's of the quality or not?
It will give you an objective
objective.
score
Right.
based on your sensory reference data.
Okay.
So we're taking individual parameters from C-cell, the number of cells, the size of the cells, the cell wall thickness. These all combine to give you an assessment of the quality.
That would make sense. When would that be available for bakers to?
Well, it's available now. It tends to be, we will work with a teaching set. So we need to see a range of product qualities. And then very quickly we'll turn that into a model that then predicts.
So say for practical reasons, on a commercial bakery scale, why would a baker want to invest in such an equipment?
I think you're always striving to maintain or improve quality. And one of the problems is your sensory team are using their experience.
Right.
But of course, to get the small incremental changes or improvements, you're looking at very small changes. And this is where objective data, we're quoting cells to individual cells, up to 10,000 cells per slice. We'll quote average diameters to 2 decimal places. Now, that is way beyond what what you can measure. Right. So, if you're looking at formulations, comparing one formulation to another, a new enzyme ingredient, you can look at the very small differences that you'll have on cell wall thickness, the improvements you're getting.
Yeah, you can see different like process changes.
Yeah.
You can see enzyme changes
and we're also selling to the bakery equipment manufacturers. They'll modify the design of their mixer slightly. What impact does that have on the dough? That will be carried through, or the new developments in sheeting technology, and it all impacts on the cell structure, the elongation of the cells.
Great.
So overall, it's appealing to a wide range of customers.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
We are here at the Diasna booth looking at new innovations from Diasna. So this is Ronald and this is Enrico. Welcome, guys.
Good morning.
Morning. So what are we going to look at today?
Yeah, the new innovation here, it's a new hygienic design.
Yeah, let's go take a look at it.
This is a WH600 and let's take a look on it.
Yeah.
And this mixer, it's good for 600 kg or 1,300 pounds of dough. It's mixing in 5 minutes. With a frequency inverter, you can control the tool and the bowl separately with a different speed, and so you get special results. The high quality, what you only get with this mixer. You don't need any cooling on it. We don't have a cooling jacket because we don't put so much energy into the mixer. The most energy we put in a dough, and that's the reason we don't need a cooling jacket on it.
So I have a question on that. Why don't you have a cooling jacket on it? I'm not so clear.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Can you?
Okay. I mean, in a normal case, you don't need it because you don't generate so much energy. So just for example, with a classic horizontal mixer, you generate 50% energy in heat and 50% goes in the dough. And in this mixer, 75% goes in the dough and only 25% goes in generates heat.
So how do you do that? Can you show us?
Yeah, because of the special tool we have. I mean, it's
okay.
You don't see it so good, but I can show you that on our other mixer. It's maybe better to see.
Oh, we can see it at a mixer too. Okay.
Because the big boy works in the same way.
Okay.
And you see the both vendors here.
Right.
And they working in between. I mean, a spiral mixer always works against the ball, and this one works in between and pushing and stretching the dough at the same time, and with a high speed, and as soon the gluten is developed, you go down with the speed and you get a very smooth dough.
That is neat. That is so neat. And why do you consider this a hygienic design?
This is not a hygienic
This is our
design.
classic
It's a
mixer,
classic.
but
This is a
this
hygienic
is a
design.
hygienic design. Because it's an open frame.
It's an open
And
frame?
Open frame. It's a wash down
Okay.
version. So it means you can wash everything, even the motor. You can wash everything down
Wow.
with a hose. And according to the open frame, you don't have any dust on it. You have a dust on it, but you can wash it down immediately, and so it's the dust is, you have no tight dust. So I mean, you see the dirt, and then you can clean it right away. And then if you have a machine with a cover, you never see what is inside.
Great. So what else is new here at Diosna?
This machine is completely without any hydraulic, because sometimes you have. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky with the hydraulic, and you never know. And even if you have a hot bakery, sometimes cause some problems with the hydraulic because the oil got too hot. And that's the reason why we change it, and everything works with a motor.
Okay.
We have an electrical motor on it, the servo motors, and this version, it's a bottom discharge. So you see it's very up on a platform, because you put an elevator or a bowl underneath, and then you discharge it straight down.
Or you also can put on a conveyor belt.
A conveyor belt. Okay. All right. So what else is at the bakery?
Well, the new item we have is we have a French croissant which we made with our sourdough, and it's our wheat classic sourdough. And what it does, it enhances the flavor, but also enhances the crumb structure, and also enhances the shelf life for the croissant.
Very neat. Okay. So why would you recommend any baker to use sourdough for croissant?
Because the same reason I said is enhanced flavor enhancement,
Just flavor enhancement.
shelf life definitely, and
What
also
do you
the
mean by
crumb
shelf life?
extends to shelf life.
Because it reduces the pH.
That's
Exactly.
exactly right.
Oh wow. Okay.
The other thing, it's also for some people who have celiac disease, they might be have a better digestion if we put in the sourdough.
Can I try one?
Please.
Yes. Okay. Did you bake this morning?
Yes. He's our master baker, technology, Andrea Schulde, Yeri.
Nice to meet you.
So
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
tasty, huh?
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
For more information and crispy
Yeah, please.
croissant samples, come to the Diosna booth.
Yeah, 65.79. Come and see us. We like to give you some croissant
Everyone is
samples,
welcome.
and we bake them freshly every few minutes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the IREX booth.
Hi, Lin.
Hi, Maurice. Tell our attendees, what do you do here at IREX?
So at IREX, we like to show you our malts and sourdoughs, and also our gluten-free products.
Okay.
Here we have a selection of our malts. So we have here, for example, a barley malt with a malt extract sprayed on it. This is a barley malt, and that's a wheat malt that we have roasted like a coffee.
Oh, very neat. How would bakers use this?
They would use it as an addition, say 1 or 2% in the product, so on flour. If you want to have, for example, just an aroma, you would use this double malt, and then you can see that the color of the dough the crumb stays more or less the same.
Right.
And if you would use, for example, the X70 in this one, You can see that with you don't have to use a sugar color.
Right.
You
No
can just
caramel color,
no
just
color, no color. You can just use
malt.
malt.
Right.
It's all natural.
Label friendly.
Label friendly.
Right,
It's clean
okay.
label, and as I said, it's yeah, you can use it 1 to 3%.
So, tell me, what is so different about your malt? Because I thought malt is malt.
Malt is malt. Yeah, malt is malt, but we do this already since 1856. We are the number third
Where?
in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Where in Germany?
In Kulmbach,
Oh,
which is north of Munich. And we do this since 1856. We started as a malting company, so we have a really long history of malt. And we have a range of 35 different malts. Normally a malt is made out of wheat or of the barley, but we can also make it out of rye. Or for example, we also have a spelt malt. And so we have all different kinds of malt. We are the only baking ingredients manufacturer that makes malt extract.
Yep.
And that's why, for example, we have here this barley malt, where we have then extruded and where we have an extrusion with a malt extract on it as well, and that is a unique product in the market.
Very neat. So, other than malts, what do you guys offer?
We offer bread mixes, cake mixes. We offer gluten-free sourdoughs. We make sourdoughs since 1900 around about. So we have a big range of that as well.
Right. I'm interested in gluten-free.
Gluten-free, yes.
Tell me a little bit more gluten-free.
Well, we have here some products. We have sponge cakes, brownies, muffins, cookies. Sponge mix is really absolutely fantastic. Yes, it's you can't see the difference between a normal cake mix and this one. We started this more or less 15 years ago, and what we said was that there should not be a difference between.
Sponge cake, guys. Look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah, we said there shouldn't be a difference between a normal product and a gluten-free product.
Right.
And I think by now we are one of the market leaders in gluten-free products. And we have multi-seed, we have a little bit of a sour bread, a dark bread, we have white bread, baguette buns, we have hamburger buns, so you can also make it gluten-free.
Amazing.
Yes, and Yuri is baking gluten-free cheese balls.
Yeah,
no, he's not baking it at the moment. But come by when you are here every 20-30 minutes. Yuri is baking the cheese balls, Brazilian cheese balls, the pão de queijo it's called, and it's gluten-free, it's wheat-free, it's yeast-free, and it's really something special and fresh out of the oven. It tastes very good.
Awesome. So if you guys are around and you want to try an amazing line of malt and also gluten-free products, come and see Maurice at the Expo. 2967.
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
To the Tate & Lyle booth, I have Allison, and she's going to tell us everything about reducing sugar. And as you guys know, bakers, when you take the sugar out, you're having a lot of bulking issues, you know, your moisture issues. So Allison's here to tell us how to do that. Allison?
Hi everybody, so my name is Allison Ferriozzi. I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for Tate & Lyle. Today we have two really great sugar-reduced products for you to try. The first here that you can probably see in front of you is the Reduced Sugar Mini Red Velvet Cupcake. The main product we're featuring today is our Dolce Prima Allulose. We have it in both our crystalline and liquid form, which is really doing the heavy lifting for that sugar reduction that we were just talking about. We also have a little bit of our instant starch, which our brand name is Tender Gel, which helps maintain some of the batter viscosity in that finished cake. Because of course when you're taking that sugar out, that can be an issue. So we worked a little bit with the starch as well as the allulose.
Yeah, that's a great strategy.
To maintain that great texture that you're looking for when you're eating a cupcake.
Right.
In the icing, if you can zoom in here and see, we've got a great form still maintained, even though we took sugar out. Sometimes that can impact your piping capability.
That's true.
With the frosting. So we actually didn't have to add any bulk back. With the icing, because we didn't target too high of a sugar reduction in that product. So we use just the allulose, and we're able to maintain the great texture and form that you see here.
So how much sugar did you take out?
In total, we took about 25% reduction in sugar and calories.
How much calories did that take out? Is it how much calories did you start with per cake?
Sure. So each cake, our serving size in this case, since they're mini, is 2. The total calorie content for that formula or control formula was 370. For the reduced version, the calories went down to 350.
That's good.
For 2, so you get
Yeah, that's awesome. So how about shelf life? How does this affect shelf life, the sugar reduction?
Sure. So that can be an issue, as we were talking about, with the moisture management. So because we've got the starch in there, yeah, absolutely, that isn't really an issue because we manage the moisture, so you shouldn't have vast impacts on shelf life. Yep. So
That's
same
true.
expectation with a full sugar formula.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Allison, as you know, cookie production is really difficult with sugar reduction. You obviously have kept the spread and the look and the texture of the cookies. How did you do that?
So our technical team really looked at this from a multi-product solution. So it's not just adding sweeteners. When you're taking that sugar out, you've got to add bulk back in. So in this case, the team chose to work with 2 of our sweeteners. One is the Dulce Prima Allulose. The second is our Optimizer 2.1 stevia sweetener. So both of those are working together to mimic that sugar and taste and sweetness that you expect, but the real heavy lifter is the Promotor soluble corn fiber in this case, and it's really working to help maintain that texture. So if we didn't put that in, we'd have really chewy. We wouldn't really have the desired texture we're looking for.
Chewy is amazing. Where's that coming from?
It's the combination of the 3 ingredients together.
Really?
Yeah, so we like to look at our portfolio as a toolbox, and in this case, these were the 3 tools that are delivering that great taste and texture that you're looking for. You'll also see from the color, browning can be a concern when you're taking sugar out. So in this case, the allulose is really adding in a nice brown color. It can brown a little bit more when you're working with it, but in this case, the team, we have experts that can help you balance it out to meet the desired color and texture and sweetness for what your sugar reduction challenges are in your formulations.
So is it possible to reduce more sugar in this, or?
It is. So in the dough itself, it's 50% actually. So we were able to maintain 50% just in the dough because we added in chocolate chip. Yeah.
It's still so chewy. My goodness. Okay.
They're so good. I've had a lot. But because we added the chocolate chips, that's what brings the finished product to only a 25%
I
reduction.
got it.
Yeah. So if you were to
so the
change your
chocolate chip is the culprit.
It is.
So now we need chocolate chip with allulose in it.
Yep, and that is possible as well. And we have a lot of work going into that too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
This has been great. Chewy cookies.
Come try them.
So if you guys have any more questions on sugar reduction, which is really important, the regulations are coming, stop by the Tate & Lyle booth and visit with Allison.
Yeah.